even like just considering movies and media, I mean, I don't know any rom-com in real life. Like,
no.
I mean, I don't think anybody's relationship is always like so perfectly linear. Like you get together, you're in love, you get in a fight, you make up, you get married, yay, happily ever after or whatever. Like, I don't know anybody's relationship that's so like linearly drawn out, like I don't know anybody's relationship that looks like a movie. And if it does look like a movie, that's because it's curated probably for social media.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when you're saying that, I'm weirdly thinking about there's those 2 movies. It was like Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached or something with Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
And there was the other one. Whatever. The point is that like it showed that, this relationship didn't start off so romantically. It started off as just friends with benefits, and they didn't want a relationship. But then at the end, they realized they loved each other so much, and it's always like this like high achieving couple and like all this, And I'm like, that's like maybe that sometimes happens.
Yeah, but
when
like some people really do just want to have sex.
Yeah.
Like that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's totally okay.
Right.
But then when you think about that and you think of how it portrays in the media and you're like, am I not having sex enough? Am I having sex too much? Am I this? Am I that? And it's like, I don't know if we need to, watch that and compare it to ourselves.
I know. Because we're all different. Like some people can have, sex is just an act and for some, of pleasure and joy. And then for some people, sex is an act of intimacy, and connection. So we all are different in that way. Yeah. And it's hard to judge on like, your sex life. I think we can even talk about the differences between men and women.
Right.
And I also want to caveat this with Lior and I are both in heterosexual marriages. So we are only speaking from our personal experience and some of the feedback that we've received. So we can't touch too much on LGBTQ relationships because we don't know them personally for ourselves. We can touch base on them based off of what we know about maybe clients or some close friends or family. But we're both in heterosexual relationships. So just kind of thinking about the stigma and the gender norms around like women and sex partners and men and sex partners and how, the more men that women sleep with, they're a slut or a whore or whatever the language is around that, less pure. And then men, if they have more partners, they're seen as like, the man.
Yeah. Like,
good for you, So, I mean, I think we're trying to break those kinds of boundaries down as the generations continue to become more aware and open and things like that. But those things are still very much at play. So it's kind of like, I don't know what you were kind of taught when you were growing up with dating, but it's like, don't have sex with them because that's all that they want. Yeah. That's all that they want you for. And you internalize that. I think a lot of us internalize that. There are so many tropes in movies and books around that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think like when I do reflect back, like you just asked, I think like not so much in high school, but in college, I remember like starting to date people and whatever, hanging out and people talking about like, oh, well, how many people have you had sex with? And it's like, But I remember asking that question as well. Like I was also conditioned to ask that question. And but realistically, like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
What am I going to get from it?
I know. But that's the thing is like nobody is impervious to like the messages of society.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Exactly. So I definitely think that, when dating and when getting into relationships, it's whatever makes the most sense to you. If you feel uncomfortable with something, ask yourself what about that is making you feel uncomfortable. Everyone's entitled to their own decisions and opinions, but it's also we need to really understand, I think, where that comes from. And is it from us or is it our parents or is it society or is it social media, the media in general?